Kevin Switzer is one of those trainers who has a love for his horses and a passion for harness racing that's second to none. But when did his affair with the sport begin, and what advice does he have for those starting out? We got those questions answered, plus much more in this post-time Q&A segment. How did you get into the business?
I've had horses my entire life. I actually grew up on a thoroughbred farm. When I was 13 years old, I started working there. And it was two gentlemen who were self-made. Actually, Tom, the one brother, was a racing commissioner for the state of New Jersey for a long time. So I grew up on their farm, and they taught me a lot. I got out away from the horses. I actually worked construction, had my own roofing business. I did a lot of other things before I got back into the horse business. And I met a friend. I made him my friend, and I started hanging around the barn on the weekends and stuff, and pretty soon every Saturday I was there mucking stalls, and Sunday I'd feed up, and I just fell in love with it.
Tell us something about yourself that we may not know.
I duck hunt and I bird hunt, and I do stuff like that. I've been to North Dakota, duck hunting and pheasant hunting, and then we went to Louisiana and I took my dog and my drove down, me and my wife, and we were there for 3 days, and that was fantastic.
Switzer is an interesting name. What's your heritage?
I have Irish and German. You know, back in the 1800s, I think they came over, and then I have relatives, I believe, in Canada. And there's a Keith Switzer in Canada. And we might be related because my great-grandfather, like in the 1800s, had a brother that moved to Canada and started a family. So I was always wondering every time I see his name in the program if we were related. Because people would say, "Oh, you raced in Canada." No, I didn't. Well, it says K. Switzer. Well, that's not me.
What cheers you up and makes you feel like a kid again?
I don't know. The horses cheer me up. I mean, I love going to the barn in the morning. You know, I love going to the barn. I love taking the horses out. I like jogging them. You know, that fires me up.
What's your best advice for young people wanting to drive horses?
If this is what you really love to do, you just keep at it, because eventually you'll get to where you want to be. When I started out, I had to eat apples because I had no money. You know, I just kept going, and finally it came. You know, I started with 2 horses that were worth $500 for the pair, and now I'm at where I am today.
So persistence.
Persistence. Don't give up. If that's your dream and that's your love, keep at it.
What's perfect about your life?
Basically everything. I mean, my wife, my grandkids, my children. I mean, they all grew up in the business. We all went to the races together when they were little kids. You know, and they all watched their father drive. The kids all come watch their pop drive, and it's been a great life. It's a great life.
If a movie was based on your life, who would play you, and who would play your wife, Denise? What would that movie be?
This was the easiest question. The movie would be McClintock, and I would be John Wayne, and she would be Maureen O'Hara, because she's a fired-up redhead.
What event would you say has been life-changing?
As far as my being a driver would be my biggest life-changing thing. I got the opportunity to drive one at Lewiston Raceway. Don Knappman, he was a race secretary here at one time. He was also the race secretary at Lewiston Raceway. And he got me to drive a horse called Out to Score, who was in the Can-Am Series race. It was like a $25,000 race, which was a big deal. And Jack Mosey was supposed to drive it, didn't come. So when they were looking for a driver, he put my name in a hat, and he got me the job. And I did not only just win, I broke the track record, I broke the state record, I broke all the records. It was a home run for Kevin Switzer.
What's the most memorable race you've ever won?
My best memory of winning a race, I won a race at Goshen for a man called Bud Chinchette, who was a Chinchette Corporation. They build bridges, and very wealthy man. And then when I went in the winner's circle, the guy shook my hand and looked like a little toy hand in his big hand. He had a big smile on it. I mean, this guy's worth millions of dollars, and he just won this race. It's like the biggest thing happened to him. And when I looked up at him, the glow in his face it was breathtaking. And it would be my most memorable win ever.
What do you love about harness racing so much?
I love horses. I've always had ponies and horses. And even when I worked in construction, I always had a riding horse. That's what fires me up. You know, when I get up in the morning, I want to go out the door and I want to go do what I do. I don't say, oh, geez, like 3 more years and I'm going to retire and go do what I want. I do what I want right now.
Other than horses, what's your favorite thing to spend money on?
Spend money on?
Yeah.
Oh, go to Cabela's. When my grandson was small, we used to have a saying. I'd go to the bank and cash all my drive checks, and we would go straight to Cabela's. So he would say, Papa, where are we going? I said, we're going to the bank. Oh, then we're going to Cabela's. So he had like a little song he made about Grandma doesn't want me to go to Cabela's. To buy camo and bullets and stuff I really didn't need.
What's your best life advice?
I was working on a construction job and I hated it. Couldn't stand it. My father was a carpenter, my brother, and I was working with an elderly gentleman who was in his 60s, getting ready to retire. And he told me, he said, son, I've done this my whole life. And if you're not happy doing this, you should do whatever makes you happy because there's only one life. And I thought about that. I thought about 2 or 3 days, and then one morning I drove to the job with my brother, and I didn't get out of the car. My brother said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going back to the barn to shovel manure for $200 a week. He said, it's $175 if you walk through. We're going back 40 years ago, you know. And he says, it's $175 if you walk through that door. I said, I'm not going. And I turned around and drove away, and I never went back.